I'm Chris Oppenheim. People call me Church. I'm the owner of Interstate Inc. in Los Angeles, California. We cater almost exclusively to recovering addicts, and we have a program in place to help artists with addiction issues get their lives and careers back on track. We're trying to raise awareness, educate others, and reduce the negative stigmas associated with addiction. We want everyone to know there is hope, we do recover, and most importantly, even broken crayons still color. Hi, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Broken Crayons podcast here at Interstate Inc. Today's guest is it's really special to me because he's my sponsor's sponsor. He was a larger than life character when I came out here, man. Seriously, you were. This is Bruno.
I always that always catches me off guard. The larger than life thing, man. Because for me, it's every relationship is just an intimate relationship.
Well, I'd never met somebody who'd done so much for recovering addicts. We 20-some years in, you're still around. Still willing to answer the phone, still willing to help. And if it weren't for you getting clean, that chain reaction of, people that followed, I wouldn't be where I am. Because, Michael and, I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And, I still do the same things I did when I had 90 days clean. I go to meetings, commitments, do step work, and continue. It's about service. It really is. It's all about service.
That's actually the point I'm starting to get to. You know what I mean? Like,
and service is coming in many different facets. It's opened up doors that I never thought could actually possibly be open. Nor it's opened doors that I didn't even know wanted to be open. To be honest, the best way to describe me before I got clean was was having herpes. To be honest with you, I would flare up in your life, get you into some trouble that you didn't even know you wanted to get into. Then I'd go away for a while and you'd be dormant. And eventually I'd get back out and flare back up into your life.
Eloquently put. I'm like herpes.
Yeah. Today, I've been dormant for many years.
Well, I think it's cool that you do so much for recovering addicts, and you a positive influence and made such a huge impact on people's lives, but it wasn't always like that.
No, it wasn't.
You were reluctant to talk about it, and I don't blame you. But there was one instant in particular that, for me, it was an example of just how far a person can come. Do you want to touch on that briefly?
Well, yeah, for one, listen to Ken Gailey's podcast because it'll probably explain a little better. I truly, don't romance or glorify anything. More of the protection, of the newcomer who doesn't have a big story yet. And nor do you need to get a big story to come here and stay clean. Somebody's bottom is where they stop. You shouldn't look at somebody else's bottom and think that, I haven't got there yet. But yeah, we're talking about, to be honest, I provided gainful employment for the police department, and things that had happened. And the crazy thing about it, man, even in addiction, we assimilate into a lifestyle that we didn't even know that, we were doing. And I come from a nice community in Orange County, in the late 70s, through addiction, I ended up, a person that I didn't even know who I was anymore. I was scared, I was hopeless, and I was just, I honestly, in my head, I had romanced into. I thought I was like an outlaw,
Gangster.
No, I never thought myself as a gangster, man. I thought myself as, I was just going to live outside of society's rules, and and I took that mentality. You know, I consider myself blessed with my age. You know, I caught that late 70s, early 80s punk rock movement, you know, out of, you know, Orange County and Long Beach area. And you know, and I just happened to have my butt on a motorcycle too. So, you know, I'd be riding my Harley around and be a biker. You know, I'd take my hat off and be a punk rocker. You know, and I was never very good at being told what to do. You know, therefore I never really joined any establishments. You know, and I am kind of, you know, it takes everything in my own power, even to this day, you know, to stay in the establishment of what I call my life Narcotics Anonymous. You know, left to my own devices, I want to be alone. I'm much better at one-on-one relationships with people than I am like in a crowd. You know, I'm not the guy who has all the fancy. I'll share everything I have. I'll share with you, but at the same time, I don't want the praise for it. You know, but as far as Ken and I go, yeah. There was an instant, you know, where we clashed.
I mean, I think clashed is a bit of an understatement.
It is a bit of an understatement.
You know, and I can appreciate your reluctance to say exactly how you and Ken know each other from the beginning. But like I said, I think it's really important because people have no idea, you know, how far you can come, you know, how drastic of a change you can make, you know, because at some point, you and Ken, real quick, you and Ken are pretty much best friends at this point.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
With over 20 years clean. Yeah. Ken was a cop.
Yeah.
And
I was providing him employment. And
Ken was a cop, and you were a criminal in the neighborhood where Ken was a cop.
That's the truth, you know, and that's the truth of it too, man. When I got clean this time, it was very disappointing to find out that I wasn't an outlaw, that I was just a criminal. You know, I mean, really, that hurt my feelings pretty hard when that was originally told to me. And but it was probably one of the barriers I had to break, to look at the change, you know, because I looked at it more in a romantic way. You know, even though, you know, and trust me, don't get it wrong, man. I am very grateful and very, very lucky actually to be alive today. Oh, you know, you know, the thing that we keep alluding to, you know, if it could have gone a separate way, you know.
I think we're just gonna have to come out and say it.
the miracle is years later we were in the same room, you know, eating, you know. We're in totally different spots in our lives, and it turns out that, you know, what I was running from or fighting against, you know, felt the same way I did. You know, I never even fathomed that. We're kind of the odd couple, we are, but the truth is, you know, no matter where you are or where you come from, man, you know, what's inside isn't always reflected on the outside.
But it's just crazy, dude, because, like, you two wanted to kill each other, literally.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Shooting at each other. Because he said, you know, the one instance, the one set of circumstances in particular, we'll just say you committed a specific crime against the police force. I guess we can leave it at that, you know. But as a result, they were, you know, you can't even say they were diligently searching for you, and their plans were to take you out.
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Because you had, you know, hurt one of their own.
Well, you know, and for me to argue that there's not a higher power or a God, you know, protecting me in my life, man, completely false. You know. You look back at, you know, the instances and what has happened, you know, and I'm here today. You know, it's a testament alone that you know what, you know, that God's grace can come to you even when you don't want it.
How old were you when all that shit went down?
I was in my early 30s.
Huh?
I was in my early 30s.
When all that shit went down with Ken's partner and everything?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I thought you were younger for some reason.
No, it may have been.
What was...
I may have, probably late 20s, early 30s, probably, yeah.
What was
Let's see, I'm 60 now. I got 22 years clean.
What was the actual sentence imposed?
Oh, 10 years. 10? 10 years, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And I got lucky. It was before the 3 strikes law. It was before, any 80%, all that stuff. Yeah.
I thought there was like some life behind it.
That was a different
something to life.
Is it 5 to life, yeah.
5 to life. That doesn't even make sense to me. 5 to life. Like it's an awfully wide range.
That was.
Then again, I guess it could go quick.
That was yeah. You know. But yeah, I mean, the cool thing about Ken and I's story, man, is as different as we are, inside emotionally, and spiritually, man, we're identical. We want the same things.
It's funny you touched on that because it's something that I try to point out all the time. No matter where any of us came from, the feelings are the same.
Yeah.
Even if it's just the little old lady the fucking doctor gave too many Percocets to, or the fucking straight up gutter junkie, we're all fucking running from something. What's traumatic in my life may not sound like much to you, and vice versa. Or
but even life has traumas. You stay clean long enough. I mean, I tell this to everybody, man. You stay clean long enough, you're gonna get a shit sandwich. You're just gonna get one, man. Early in my recovery, man, I would have ate the whole fucking sandwich to spite you. Now I'm at a point where, if I get a shit sandwich, man, look at it, I go, damn, it's a shit sandwich. I don't want to eat it. Well,
at this point, you're equipped to handle the shit that is thrown your way. Well, I think that's, to me, that's one of the things that recovery is all about, because I didn't know how to handle shit on any level.
See, I'm also I'm really blessed. I got a very strong woman in my life. I got a woman who's been in recovery longer than I have, and, a lot of her influences have really helped me.
How long have you been clean? Just for
me?
Yeah.
Oh, I've been 22 years last month.
22 years.
Yeah. I got clean on St. Patrick's Day.
You were supposed to be drinking green beer.
That's why I went to Narcotics Anonymous. I got kicked out of alcohol. I'm just kidding.
22 years.
Yes. Yeah.
That's fucking amazing.
In the beginning, all I wanted to do was get off parole, and figure out a way to keep a needle out of my arm. That was all that. I mean, literally, that was all I wanted. And what's been given to me, is 22 years of my life, memories of things that we've done, relationships, and recovery's not about sounding good at a meeting, or impressing your sponsor or doing all this. So, recovery is what you do when no one's looking.
Oh, integrity.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell this story sometimes, man, but it's like, okay, I'll talk about Michael for a second, because when I met Michael, he would show up on set, because he had a wife that was a performer, and I would just talk to him because we come from kind of the same cloth, but at that point I had probably 7 or 8 years clean, and I would just say, hey, what's up, man? Are you doing okay? Blah, blah, blah. You're off paper, talking, the little convict lingo and stuff. And, we talk a little bit. And then one year, about a year later, I ran into him at a a convention out in Las Vegas, an AVN convention, because one of the companies that I'd been working for, man, was up for a bunch of awards and stuff, and I'm cruising through this what do you even call it, like that, like the trade show part of it, because back then that thing was huge, and there's Michael, he goes, hey, I got a house, we got girls, we got thugs, we got all this stuff, and I'm all by myself, there's nobody around. He's like, come hang out with us. Here, give me a piece of paper with the directions to the place, man. Like, anything you need, you got, man. No problem. I'm like, all right, well, nobody's looking. Okay, I thank you. I appreciate the invitation, man. I'm probably not going to make it, which I know I'm not going to make it, man. But, much respects and, thank you for the invite. And he's like looking at me all strange, going, why don't you want to come? And what I didn't feel was my need to say, hey, I'm a member of Narcotics Anonymous. I don't do that stuff, That's not where my life is today. That I don't promote it. You know what I mean? If you guys know me, I obviously you're gonna see this and think, oh, he's promoting it now. But
well, I asked you to do this, and you gratefully accepted. I don't,
So, but maybe a year later, I get a phone call from one of my sponsee brothers who's working at a jail program, and he goes, I got this guy here who, I don't know, you're probably the only person that's going to get through to him. You're the only person that's been to places that he's been, the only person, that knows what he does, blah, 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 all that stuff. And I went, okay, all right, cool. Puts him on the phone, and Michael goes, well, I know a guy named Bruno, but he's cool.
Yeah, couldn't possibly be you.
Yeah, he's not into this, whatever, whatever this stuff is. And I'm like, hey, bro, check it out. It is me, and I am into this stuff, and this is what I am serious about. I don't fuck around with this. And he goes, really? But the real truth of that story is if I would have, took that one day off, or said one thing, or done something different, then the first time that he would have met somebody in Narcotics Anonymous, it would have been a fake, phony, and fraud. Yeah. A month later, I picked him up from jail, and
You picked him up?
Oh yeah, dude. He was wearing some fucked up plaid shirt and had a little brown file folder in his hand, and he didn't have nothing. He didn't have nothing, man. He was in such a rush to do something. And I just said, hey, slow down. Let this thing evolve, man. Your life is going to be turning into something beyond your wildest dreams if you let it. But I'm going to show you how I did it. Because somebody showed me how to do it. And that's the nature of the relationships here. And that's
lead by example.
Yeah. I'm in a long-term relationship because I ask people who are in long-term relationships how they do it. The guy that's been married 5 times that told me marriage is like a garage, you can always back out. That's not the guy I go to.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool to actually discuss the relationships in recovery, because my wife and I, you know her.
Yeah.
We're both in recovery, and it's weird. It's like sometimes it's super beneficial. Sometimes we butt heads and clash with differences of opinion on some of the different topics, and I don't know.
Sometimes it is. Peggy and I do really good on it, man. We have she's great with the girls, and
she's my wife's sponsor.
Yeah. And I focus on the men. But we each have a life in Narcotics Anonymous, and then we have our life together in Narcotics Anonymous. And sometimes it bleeds over, but I don't get in her program, she doesn't get into mine. but together, you know, we live with the program, the benefits of the program.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh yeah.
And there's been times, you know, her and I butted bad enough at one time that we actually had to seek outside help. We went to a therapist and learned how to communicate, talk to each other. You know, sometimes, you know,
that's what they're there for.
Yeah, you know, and I learned, you know, sometimes, man, the price I'm willing to pay for being right is bigger than the price that I want to pay. You know,
well, you're married. You're never right. I mean, that's what I gathered. You know, now that I'm married.
Yeah, but you know, but case. I watch the, you know, the nature of the relationships that she has, man, and I like those things. You know, I like, you know, I want to be able to love on the guys, you know, the way she loves on the girls, man. You know, because I'm not that hard ass motherfucker that, you know, that they showed up here 22 years ago, you know, with all these great war stories, man. You know, I'm a guy who, you know, has been clean a while and you know, and wants to give back what was so freely given to me. And
you do. Like, you know, I said earlier, you know, I know how you feel about it, but I said earlier, when I came out here, you were like this larger than life figure. And here's why. Okay. This is my first, you know, experience meeting you. You probably don't even remember it because, you know, it was kind of like your routine, but I just happened to be part of it that day. They did the sponsorship family meeting at one of Michael's sober livings, one of the stairway houses.
Oh, okay.
It was the Quinta house.
I remember that, yeah.
So there's like 60 people sitting in this circle. It's all the same sponsorship family. You know, this guy's sponsored by this guy's sponsored by this guy. And at the top of that chain of people was you. You getting clean is a direct result of that 60 people all working their program. That was pretty impressive, dude. You know what I mean? To somebody who's like, I don't know. It also says something about where I was in my life because I was finally impressed by something positive, you know? But yeah, that's who you were to me. It was like, fucking, holy shit, look at this guy.
Yeah, you know, and those, I mean, looking outside, you know, from outside perspective of that, you know, the sponsorship meetings they're phenomenal. They are. They get so big now that we needed a drone to take a picture of it. You know, but and the truth is, you know what? That's the beauty of this program because we pass it down. You know, I literally sponsored 23 people.
You do now?
Yeah, I've been told by my sponsor to stop adding more people.
Stop collecting them.
But I wouldn't sponsor anybody that I can't physically keep up with or have the time to do it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't do it.
Well, I think
and
a lot of it is you're working in treatment. You're there. You
yeah.
know? So some of the guys you sponsor, you're with every day, no matter what.
Yeah, that's just recent.
Oh yeah,
that's just recent. You know, I you know, I got blessed. You know, I got clean. You know, work was great. You know, I been all over everywhere. You know, when I worked for the studios and stuff, and you know, it was really cool, man. You know, and you know, when this whole pandemic thing hit, and the whole Zoom thing came out, I thought, oh, this is going to be great. I'll be in Georgia filming something, and I can go to a meeting, you know, where all my friends are, you know, in Southern California. You know, I didn't know that I was going to stop working for the studios and go to Stairways. I had no idea. That wasn't part of the plan. You know.
How did that even come together?
Ken.
So fucking crazy.
It was because, I mean, part of the stipulation.
Cops and robbers working together.
Oh, man. Yeah, it was 20 years in the making.
Yeah.
You know, we worked together early on, too, in recovery. And then, you know, I went and did my thing. He was doing his thing. You know, we've always talked to each other all the time. But when I came back, you know, when everything got shut down, you know, I came back here. I had shoulder surgery. You know, I
remember that.
Yeah, like any good addict, man. You know, they say, hey, you need surgery. And I said, okay, well, I got to go do this TV show, so I'll be back in 7 months. went and did a TV show left-handed. Came back and my shoulder was more trash than they could ever imagine.
It was rotator cuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
talked
to you about it because I had torn mine not too long ago, and I never got the surgery because, it dawned on me that a surgeon's job is to sell surgeries. So I kind of waited it out a little bit, and I haven't had any problems with it. But I remember talking to you about it.
If you can fix it with physical therapy, do that.
I
always do that. Mine was beyond that.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
You were laid up for a minute. Right?
But then again, I got, 16.
But was that why? That's why you didn't go back to the studios? That's why you did the...
Yeah, no, I came back. Really, that's it. I came back, and then everything was shut down, and then once everything started opening up, stairways, became a possibility, and I was really reluctant at first because I didn't want to work for somebody I sponsor.
Huh.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Part of me being brought in was like I was going to work for and with Ken, because I would anybody that I sponsor, if money gets involved, you know what I mean. I didn't want any of that,
right?
And I didn't want to tell
kinda
somebody,
like mixing
hey,
business and pleasure, and
I'll quit the job in a minute to stay someone's sponsor.
Ray is my sponsor, and you sponsor Ray.
Yeah.
Early on, when I asked Ray, we were working together at the vape shop, and he was kind of manager in the place, and he was like, I don't know if we should because we work together, and I was such a knucklehead. I was like, but that's why I want a sponsor that I work with. I need to be around my sponsor all day, every day.
Yeah.
In
that situation, that worked out perfect.
Yeah. Well, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just coming to that realization, knowing that that's what was going to be good for me, actually doing something that was healthy.
Well,
so new.
Being around a positive influence on a continual basis too. At that point, Ray had a few years clean, and
I think 4 or 5 at the time.
Yeah, and he'd finally settled down into a life of recovery.
So. Yeah, he's a knucklehead.
Oh, I know.
He's told me stories.
I've gotten calls from him in the middle of the night trying to sell me a chop saw. And I would tell him all the time, man, I'm like, Ray, I love you. I'm always going to love you, but I'm going to hang up on you, man, because
I'm not buying a chop saw.
For one, I'm not buying a chop saw. It's 2:30 in the morning, and and dancing with a disease is just going to hurt my feelings because we're going to say the same thing in a circle over and over and over. And there came time, he had his path, and he made it out. He's doing good now.
Yeah, he is. He's helping me. He said I'm officially the first sponsee he's had that's actually went through all the steps. I got 12 to go. The number, the 12th step. I haven't done any of the workbook stuff on that one yet, but I'm gonna. You know what I mean? Without a doubt.
Well, I've been having a spiritual experience as a result of working all 12 steps. It truly means, that's service. That's giving it back to the community. It's all of a sudden, wow, I got this life beyond my wildest dreams, man. I actually managed to outlive my parents, which were, there have been times where I didn't know that was going to happen.
Yeah. I think my parents didn't expect me to, I think they expected to get that phone call,
Yeah, my parents and my sister too.
And the worst part about it is the old me didn't care if they did get that phone call. I think that's one of the things that I've noticed, because I look back, I tell these young kids, right? I'm like, okay, you're just coming around, you're 21, 22 years old, all right? I said, I lived your life twice, and there's no innocent childhood in the second half. It's all hell if you keep making the same choices, And with fentanyl and everything, it's not a matter if you'll die, but when. Because it will kill you. And I can remember people telling me, it's going to kill you. And it just You know what I mean? I didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
I didn't fucking care.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the tragedy and the scary thing is now is a lot of the youngsters, man, they don't even get a chance to get a story. It's either you stop now or you die.
Yeah. Well, they don't have anything to compare it to.
No.
When we were younger, we knew that, like, drugs were dangerous. They could kill you. But in a lot of cases, they didn't. They really didn't. Like, nowadays, it's straight up Russian roulette. Like I said, it's not a matter of if, but when.
I mean, the crazy thing about it, man, when I was strung out on heroin, you hear about somebody ODing, like, oh, who was this connection? Because that's where the good stuff is.
Right. Yeah.
Now you go to a connection, someone gives you fentanyl and some Narcan.
Right.
Which to me sounds insane, but back then, what I was doing sounded insane to the people that came before me.
Yep. I think it gets worse and worse as the generations progress. The drugs get stronger. The fucking all of it.
It does. We assimilate into a lifestyle. Unfortunately, assimilating into the lifestyle I have now is like safer, loving, more conducive. I can remember a time where the normal stuff I did was was a felony at the minimum, because I was just doing it.
Right. Favors for friends. Like,
oh my God.
Anything. No matter what you were doing, it was a crime.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yep, been there.
You guys can cut this story out if you want to, man. But I mean, this was normal. I got out of prison. I've been out like 4 or 5 days. I ran into a couple friends that said, hey, you need some money? I said, yeah, I need to get set back up. And I said, okay, well, go collect some money here at this place. All right, so I go pounding on the door of this place. They open up the door. I produce a a weapon. To let them know that I'm like very serious about coming in there. Another door opens up, one door down, because it happened to be a motel, and this girl looks out the door and goes, "Oh," and jumps back in. Obviously these people didn't have the money, so I took everything in that room. I mean, literally everything. I left 2 people standing there butt naked with absolutely nothing to wrap around them whatsoever. Stripped the whole place down. Took a while. Put it all in my truck. Then I had the audacity to go back up to the other door, and apologize to the girl for scaring her, and then got her phone number. This is normal. Got her phone number. Said, oh, okay, cool. So 3 days later, I show up to go pick this girl up, on a date, and with my best friend, my buddy Bob, and we got 2 people duct taped in the back seat from a deal that had gone down earlier that afternoon, and she gets in the car, that was just normal.
Yeah,
that's what it came down to, and she looked in the car. She goes, "What?" I go, "Well, don't worry. This is left over from this afternoon. I'll be done in a few minutes." And literally, that was just the way I assimilated into that lifestyle. You know what I mean? And
it's crazy what we can get used to out there.
Huh?
It's crazy what we can get used to out there.
Yeah.
What's normal for us is, your average person would see how we live, and they only see that kind of shit in a movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and in the beginning for me, when I was younger, that was part of the appeal. It was. I ain't gonna lie. It was like, I don't know. Maybe I wanted to emulate movies or something. I have no idea. But it was like, I see this wild and crazy fucking lifestyle, and for some reason that was appealing. Maybe that's part of the problem. Like, that shouldn't be appealing to you when you're young, you know?
Oh, you know, I don't even know how I just got into that. You know, it just, you know, it just happened.
It progresses.
Yeah.
It didn't start there.
Well, you know, and
right?
And, you know, assimilating into that lifestyle, you know, and there's also the nature of relapse. You know, when people do get clean and then they stop doing the stuff they're supposed to do, they just slowly but surely, you know, assimilate themselves right out of the program. And before they even know it, like, I don't even know why I got loaded, you know? Yeah, you know, when you stop doing the stuff that you need to do to stay clean, man, guess what? You get loaded.
Yeah.
And that's the nature of the disease, you know, when it's in full flare, and it's the nature of the disease when you're not doing it. You know?
And like, last night was a perfect example. I needed to get your drawing done, fucking tattooed all day long, and my wife and I co-secretary a meeting. I didn't want to go. I didn't want anything to do with that fucking meeting last night, but I went. Yeah. You know?
Well, think about it, man. That meeting enables you to be clean. That meeting enables you to show up for work. That meeting enables you to own a tattoo shop. You know, to have you have your buddy Vinny come over here with all this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, you know, when you really look at it,
it enables me to be clean, and it also it helps the next guy.
Yeah.
Because that, like I said, that's where I'm at these days. After 4 years, it's odd to me, but I'm constantly looking at like ways to give back and ways to help, and you know, like I don't hesitate to give the dude 7-Eleven $5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Here, just take it, bro. I've been there. Not only that, but in a lot of cases, like there's amends. Like I've robbed certain people and certain institutions that I simply can't go pay them back.
No.
So that's, you know,
I get it.
That's how I make up for the shit that I did.
Oh, I've sent checks to a shelter because I didn't want to. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Part of the amends process was, you know, you had to figure out a way to give back without actually confessing and striking out.
Right. There's statute of limitations. They run out on some of this shit.
Yeah, but you know, some stuff there is no statute of limitations, man. But you know, you know,
it's just the right
thing.
When
we give back to the, you know, that's a spiritual thing too. You know, giving back, you know, it kind of cleans the palate a little bit, man. I mean, I can never give back enough, you know, compared to the life that I have today. It's just not possible, you know. You know, and so many people, you know, in the, you know, in the 80s and the 70s that tried to help me, man. You know, they, you know, I mean, I was talking to someone on the phone today, man. He's got 49 years clean. 49 years clean, man. And this guy's still as grateful today as he was when he got clean, you know. And to me, that's remarkable, you know. And you know, when people think
it's pretty wild.
People think, you know, that, you know, whatever.
I know some people think like after that amount of time, don't you got it licked? You know? No. Well, I've seen that shit. I've seen I knew a guy in Baltimore. Obviously, I'm not going to mention his name, but he was clean 25 years, and he started stealing from his job. Within a fucking month, he was drinking and drugging again. Like that's all it took.
Yeah.
Just the slightest bit of those behaviors creeping back in. Like, wow, after 25 years.
Yeah. You know, I got a certain amount of respect for the people that came before me, man. The one, there's, you know, you'll notice that they, you know, especially, you know, here in the San Fernando Valley, it's not uncommon to be sitting in a meeting and there's like 10, 12 people there with 30 plus years clean. You know, and I like
nuts.
Yeah. And, you know, and guess what? They're still going to meetings. They're still doing step work. You know, I mean, they're still of service. You know, and guess what? They're still clean.
Imagine that. It's weird.
You know?
I can't remember who I was talking to about it the other day, but we were talking about how people in recovery are are, it's like they're more law abiding than your average law abiding citizen, because we know we can't cross any lines. You know, like I said, that slightest. I steal a pack of gum today, I'd be smoking crack by next Friday.
Yeah, you know, and when I was new, I'd be really mad because I wanted like an itinerary. Okay, if I did this fucked up thing, what's the fucked up price I was going to have to pay? You know what I mean?
Level with me.
Yeah, tell me the truth. You know, but you don't know. You don't know what the price is. I've seen people go out over the silliest shit.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, and I learned from it too, though. You know, to be honest, you know, there's a lot of people with, you know, there's a lot of people in this program that I respect. You know, there's a lot of people, you know, and to be honest, man, I respect like some of the boring people, because they're the ones not trying to high side any of this stuff. They're just trying to be good human beings. You know, and today that's what I strive for. You know, the one-on-one conversation, because left to my own devices, you know, I'll tell you what, I can get triggered just as fast as anybody else, man. I mean, I was in a grocery store. This is probably a year or two ago, before the pandemic. And there's this dude going right down the center of the aisle. And I couldn't get around this guy. And I was so mad. I mean, how disrespectful, you know? And he was using up all the room and everything. And finally I stopped. I went all the way around the other side, and I was going to come like crash into him head on with my cart, right? And I come around the corner, and I look at him, I'm going, oh, there's that guy. And the guy's got an oxygen bottle, you know what I mean? And the tube's coming up, you know? And I'm like, oh, man, you know what? That's me, you know, that's me reacting with not all the information I need, you know? And a lot of the gift for me now is, you know, that half a second gap from my brain to my mouth. You know? Sometimes.
Yeah, I'm my reactions have gotten a lot better. You know, and it's actually one of the signs for me that I like, if I'm, I guess, overreacting or fucking, I got to check myself and say, where did that even come from? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like, because whatever I'm mad about at that time is probably not what's, you know, where that fucking attitude is even stemming from. It's got to be something else. But,
I mean, you know, the disease of addiction is a disease of addiction. You know, like we were joking earlier today. You know, I mean, for me, there was no trauma. You know, there was nothing that happened to me, man. I got loaded, and guess what? I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it so much I didn't ever want to stop.
Well, you know, it was so crazy for me to come to the realization of why I started the behaviors and all that stuff to begin with. I think I may have said it in another episode. I was like, you can trace it all the way back to like my parents' divorce. So I'm technically 40 years old and still the same scared little boy. And I thought, like, straight up, no bullshit. When I came to that realization, I thought, what a pussy. God damn it.
No, you know, in early childhood, man, you know, if we're not taught coping skills, man, guess what? We don't have coping skills.
Yeah, I know.
My parents were German immigrants. You know, so my dad didn't talk much, but when he talked, he was very, very loud.
Yeah.
You know, and it was
same. My last name's Oppenheimer. My father's German. It's the same exact thing. No bullshit. My father divorced my mother, married the next door neighbor. Yeah. Right. So I would just walk between the houses. So on holidays, you got all the Italians from my mother's side, all screaming and carrying on and talking over each other, waving their hands and shit. And then I go over to the German's house and everybody's quiet, just sitting there. But when they got something to say, you will fucking hear it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You know, ich liebe dich. I'm like, fuck, what the hell did you say to me? You know, and then I said I love you. It feels like you threatened my life.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, I dug up a lot of that stuff, you know, but really the root of it for me, man, is if it makes me feel good, I want to do it a lot.
Yeah.
That came, and it still comes out in a lot of areas of my life, man. I mean, God forbid, I have one Harley Davidson,
Right.
I got like 6 in my garage or some shit. I mean,
I was thinking about recently how does it manifest in other areas of my life? The fucking phone. I can't put that piece of shit down. I'm a workaholic. Yeah.
What's a second? My hip is cramping up.
We're actually at a good spot. We're about out of time anyway. If you want to take a break.
Are we really?
Yeah.
What do we want to close with?
Yeah. What do you think?
Oh, man, this is kind of cool. I'm having fun bullshitting like this. This has been pretty casual. Let me think. Okay, yeah. I'll tell a story that's recovery related, and this is the reason why I'm so adamant about doing step work. I was on my 9th step, which is a men's, which got into earlier, right? So I sat down with my dad, and we made, and I did my amends with my father. This German immigrant who raised this punk rocker son on a Harley Davidson, shooting it out with the cops, all that stuff. And we got square. It took 4 hours, but we talked. He told me, he loved me. He talked about, what he thought of me and stuff, and I talked to him about what I thought and how we butted heads. And, it turns out, he always showed his love through action, but he was never able to say, hey, I love you. Well, that day he did. He said, hey, Bruno, I love you. You're my son. I'd do anything for you. What I didn't know was he was going to die in his sleep 2 nights later.
Holy shit.
He wasn't sick. It was his time to go. If I wouldn't have done that amends with him, I'd still be carrying that thing for 18 years.
Jesus.
That's why I do step work. I do it because you just never know. And I am that softie. I'll run up on a motherfucker and tell him, hey, bro, I love you. And hug him and say, I learned how to do this in San Quentin. That's the benefit of this program. You don't know why you need to do something. And you might not find out for a while, but eventually you will.
That's amazing. Well,
thanks, brothers.
Thanks, Bruno.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into another episode. Like, comment, share, help us spread the word so these voices can be heard. Peace.